Hello everyone. So today we have a Kirby that we're going to be tracing in Adobe Illustrator CC. So basically Illustrator is a software that we're going to be using to draw, but it's very simple to draw on top of another drawing. So in this case, if you notice, if we zoom into our Kirby, you'll see that this is made out of pixels, which means that our image right now, it's a bitmap, which means that if we want to zoom in or print this Kirby in a large scale, we're gonna have some trouble because we have the pixels. Now, if we want to turn this into a vector, what we can do is that we can trace it. So we're gonna actually create our own Kirby by tracing our lines on top of this one, but tracing vector lines. So here's what we're gonna do for starters. So first of all, I want you to notice how you have a layer 1 which is unlocked. I want you to rename that layer to Kirby. Now once you renamed it, lock the layer so you cannot make any modifications to that original layer. Once you're done, I want you to create a new layer on top of that one. And the most important thing about Illustrator is to work in different layers. So my first recommendation is for you to divide every single section of the drawing into different layers. So we're going to start with the basic one, which is let's say the face. So I'm going to rename this layer to face, and then I'm going to create another layer, which I'm going to be calling I'm going to call it ice. I'm going to create a third layer or a fourth layer, and I'm going to rename it as let's say feet, and we're going to leave it like that for now. So I want you to lock every layer except for the one called face. I recommend you to, every time that you're using Illustrator, lock every single layer except for the one that you're working in. Now I'm going to move on to selecting my pen tool. This one right here. If you press P on your keyboard, you will automatically select it. Now, as you know, down here we have our fill and we have our stroke. Now, if we click on this arrow, we will change between the stroke and the fill. So, every time that you're going to trace something, first, I want you to set your your fill to no fill. So make sure that you have this red line across. And your fill, and your stroke, I want you to change it to some color that you're going to actually see. So I'm going to choose a blue, because we don't have any blue on our face. So I'm going to start with a blue. And here on the top on the options panel, you have more options. You can set the stroke and the fill here as well. And you can change the size of the stroke. For now, I will set it to 2 points, just in order for us to see it properly. Now I'm going to direct myself to the Kirby, and I'm going to place my pen on top of a line. I'm going to start in this intersection where it bends in the ear on the hand, but I'm going to start here. I'm going to click once, so I already have my anchor if I move my mouse. And I'm going to go to half of the face, so somewhere right here. I'm going to click and drag without letting go till I get somewhere similar to the stroke that I have on the bottom. Now, if I move it, I'm going to see that my pen or my line will automatically follow the same path as it did to this side. So I'm just going to leave it somewhere here. I'm going to click again. So now I already have the top part of the head. Now I'm going to ignore this little black line here, and I'm going to follow the hand. I want you to go to the half of the hand Click and drag until you have something similar and let go. And then again to the end, click and drag till you're happy. Now, what happened here? Let's take a look. I'm gonna zoom in. See what happened to this line. It's a little bit curved. Now, I'm gonna go back, and since your Illustrator gives you that shape, even though if you place it here on this edge, your line will still be curved. So what you have to do is that you have to break this curvature that Illustrator is doing. So if you don't like the way that your line is going, you go to that anchor point, which is this little red square. If you put your mouse on top, see how it changes your cursor to a little triangle, and it says anchor. Now if you click there where you have your little triangle, see how we broke that line that that Illustrator gives you. So now you can go any direction that you want. So I'm gonna click here again, and now I can move my line to any direction that I want. So I'm gonna leave it somewhere here. Now I'm gonna continue again. We have the same problem because we have the curvature. So I'm gonna click on the anchor, and now I can go to the section that I want with the curvature that I desire. Now, again, I'm gonna cut it out. I'm gonna do it as I want it to be. And I'm gonna continue all the way. Let's see if we can do this all at once. Yeah, we can. Well, not. I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna cut it again. Go to the center of the hand, and then just finish it again, and finish it where it says anchor. Now, it is very important, I'm gonna go back one step, that whenever you're done, you look for the point where you started, for the anchor that you started with. So whenever you get to that point, see how my cursor changes to a little circle. Now that means that there you're gonna be closing a cycle, so you can leave it wherever you want. Now I'm out of any section that I have. Now if I click on the lock, you'll see how I cannot move anything from what I've just drawn now. If I click on the eye of the Kirby, you'll see that we already have our basic shape of the Kirby. So if we like what we have, we're going to leave it like that. We're going to move on to the eyes layer. So I want you to click on the eyes layer, unlock it, and if you notice, we have two ovals with an oval inside, which means that we can make this much easier than just click and click on the center and drag it to a point that you like. Now if you notice, our curve is not the same way that we want it to be as the oval. So I'm gonna do that, and it's always better to work in quarters of a circle or quarters of an oval. So once you've done that, you can make it, arrange it easily, and just keep going and keep going. Now once you're done with one eye, you can cross to the other eye and do the same thing. So you can notice how if it's actually in half, Illustrator gives you almost the size that you want. Now another way of doing ovals without the pen tool, you can actually use a shape. So if you have here the rectangle tool, you can click there and choose the one that says ellipse tool. With the same requirements of no fill and a stroke, you can actually start creating a circle or an oval the size that you want it to be. Now if you get there, you can modify it to whatever size you want. Now I'm going to just copy and paste this one, so we actually have two of them. Well, it moved because it pasted right here outside. So I'm going to move this one to here. And now we have our two eyes ready. But we're missing this part, this blue part. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to trace it again with my pen tool. And I'm going to start tracing those points. So I think you're getting the idea. The idea is to trace every section that you have and close it at the end so you can move on to a different section. Remember that if you want to remove the line that Illustrator gives you, you should click where it says this little triangle, okay? Now, I'm going to click again, I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to lock the eyes, and I'm going to click on the eye of the Kirby so you can see how it's looking. Okay, so we have something that it's looking good. We're going to move on to the feet layer. So I'm going to click on the lock layer and I'm going to zoom into the feet. I'm going to do the same process. Now, the problem about the feet is that they are intersecting with the body or with the face. So what you can do is that you can actually start drawing from here and then we're going to just send it to the back. So you'll see. I'm just going to keep tracing my feet, not worrying about either if it intersects or not. So try to do it as fast as you can, but don't worry if it's not exactly in the same position. And you can actually just close it like that. Doesn't matter because we're going to send it to the back. Now we're going to do the same thing with this side of the foot. Now it's getting a little bit weird, so I'm going to do it again. There you go. Remember, just like Photoshop, this is trial and error. So try doing it as many times as you can so you can get it better. So if you remove the Kirby, you're going to have something like this, and you're going to tell me, well, this doesn't look like a Kirby at all. What we're going to do is that we're going to start adding color. So I'm going to click on the eye, and I'm going to be choosing face first. And I'm going to be unlocking the layer of the face. Unlocking the layer of the face. And we're going to select our path or our line, and we're going to go to our options. You're going to notice that if you switch, see how it automatically fills the color. But what we want to do is to have a black stroke with this pink color. So we're going to go ahead and choose a black stroke. Let's do it again. A black stroke. Click OK. And we're going to change that fill to one that we had before, like a little pink one. Now you can either choose the color here from any color that you want, and you'll have something like that. Or if you want specifically the color that you had before, I'm going to go back to where I didn't had color there. And I'm going to choose first the fill. And what you can do with the color picker, you can choose the color picker. So choose the fill section right here. Choose the color picker, click on the pink, and see how it automatically fills with color. And then we're going to go to the stroke and change it to black and click OK. Now if I click on the eye of the Kirby, what happens? I can see that my stroke didn't actually turn to black. So I'm going to try that again. Make sure that it does. And there we have it. Now the problem with the stroke is that it's very thin compared to the original one. So I'm going to change that again. I'm going to change the stroke of the Kirby, of my face. Click on the path. And right here I'm going to increase the stroke. Let's leave it on an 8-point stroke. So if I click on the eye of the Kirby and of the face, you'll see that I'm getting to that part that I want. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to the eyes. For this, I'm gonna I'm gonna lock the layer of the face, but I'm gonna keep it hide. So I'm gonna remove the lock of the eyes layer, and we're gonna do the same thing. So we want to start with whatever is on top. So I'm gonna start with this blue area right here. If you notice, it doesn't have a stroke, it's just a blue section. So that's what we're gonna be doing. We click on the blue section, we choose the fill, make sure that the fill is on top. I'm gonna click cancel. Make sure that the fill is on top, and just with your eyedropper tool, click on the blue that you want, and it will automatically fill it in with that color. I'm gonna move on to my other section and do the same thing. Go to the eyedropper tool and click on the blue and see how it's filled. Now, I'm gonna do the same with the white area. So I click on the white, choose this is white, and do the same with the other circle and click that with white. Now for the black, we're gonna do exactly the same thing. So we click on the circle and we click the eyedropper tool and we click black. Let's do that one more time. Eyedropper tool and we click black. So if we hide the layer of the Kirby, you'll see that the eyes look pretty good. Now I'm going to turn on the eye of the face as well, and I'm going to turn off the eye of the Kirby so you can see how our Kirby is actually looking. Okay, I'm going to continue with the feet. Now for that, I'm going to turn off again the eye of the face so I can actually see the original feet. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the area of the feet. Let me just unlock that layer. And I'm going to click on the eyedropper tool and click inside that. But for this one, we do have a black stroke. So change it to a black stroke and just make sure to leave it again in an 8-point stroke, just like the one of the face. So I'm going to go to the other foot, and do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to choose that with a black stroke, and I'm going to move the size of the stroke to 8. Now, if you notice, we already have our feet. But what's the problem? If I turn everything on, see how the feet are on top of my Kirby. So what we want to do is that I'm going to change the feet layer and drag it all the way down underneath face. So there we have it. We have the feet behind the Kirby. So if I lock that layer, you'll notice if I unhide all the layers that we have a very good example of what the Kirby can do. Now, we're gonna move on to the expressions on the face, so the mouth and the cheeks. I'm gonna hide the face layer for that one, and I'm gonna add a new layer on top of the face because the expressions are on top of the face, and I'm gonna rename that as expressions. Now on this layer, having all layers locked, I'm gonna do the same thing. Remember, we can choose the ellipse tool, and we can set it with the settings that we want from starters. Since we're not tracing anything, it doesn't matter if we put it from the beginning. So I'm gonna choose our fill. With the eyedropper tool, we're gonna choose that color, and we're gonna choose no stroke, because if you notice, the cheek doesn't have any stroke. So I'm just gonna create an ellipse or an oval right here from the cheek. So something like that. I'm gonna move it and just make sure that it's very similar to the one that we have. And of course, once you have it, you can also Doesn't have to be perfect. You can copy and paste it and just place it on the other cheek. So again, I'm going to lock that one, click on the face, and we're going to hide the Kirby and see our result. It's looking very good. Now I'm going to turn off the face again, turn off the lock for the expression layers, and I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to trace this mouth. So we're going to use our pen tool for that, and we only need a stroke. So we need no fill, and a stroke. We're going to change that to black because we want just this, the smiley. And we're going to move our stroke to 8 points as well. What we're going to do is you're only going to be clicking on one end, clicking on the other end, and just tracing the smile. And that's it. Now, if we want to just quit this, so we're not going to be closing this selection, we just want to end it right there. I want you to click Escape on your keyboard, and that would just cut it. Okay, so if we lock the layer of the face, of the expressions, you'll see how our Kirby looks really, really good. Now, I want you to challenge yourself and try to add all of these details of the other colors that we have, the shadows inside, by doing exactly the same process that we did. So go on and try to add these shadows and other colors. And please, at the end, add a new layer on the very top. Write your name somewhere around your workspace, your work area, in a place that I can see it. Take a screenshot of everything that you see around, so Command-Shift-3, and submit your screenshot to Schoology. Thank you for watching. I hope you understood everything. If you have any questions, please let me know. And of course, don't forget to comment your color code. Thank you.